You know, initially I was not planning a stream for this week, but something came up regarding I'm closely monitoring the situation regarding the PS5 Pro. I know this is a little repetitive, but I'm also considering selling my own PS5 base because quite frankly, I am frustrated with Sony and many people in Japan still own PS4s because they cannot justify 120,000 yen. Today I'll be playing Mario Kart instead of Gran Turismo because I found that I kept playing the same, I kept doing the shorter races, yet I, spend more time talking about the PS5 Pro than engaging in actual gameplay, so, we'll start things off by saying that, because of the unjustified price hike for the PS5, the unjustified price of the PS5 Pro, and also Sony Interactive Entertainment, like one of Sony Interactive Entertainment's employees saying that to Japanese market that it's a price change, not a price hike. That was really sour, honestly, because just on Monday, which was yesterday, the US dollar has went down to 139 yen per dollar for the first time in 14 months. So that speaks volumes to how weak the yen is and how out of touch Sony is compared to the actual forex market. And as a result, a few build-to-order PC companies in Japan had started mocking Sony on Twitter because the term gaming PC was trending on Twitter in Japan. Should I say X? I don't know. It's still called Twitter though. Yeah, not a good look for Sony, honestly. When literally the Western game media, game journalists call it a console alternative to gaming PCs, when in reality, I have proof that it is actually BS. And shout out to Digital Foundry for the tech analysis, but it was paywalled, which means, in other words, I was cock-blocked from seeing the actual source because they put a paywall up there. And they said that Alan Wake 2 doesn't even reach 1080p. I used some resolution like 864p on a $700 console that they also bring tangible improvements in games like Alan Wake 2. Yeah, I also have a build for Alan Wake 2 that could be run at recommended settings for just $200 more than a PS5 Pro. So we're gonna start by changing the sound to effects only, and we're going to read through some comments that the Japanese have said. Now, I also heard rumors about the PS6 that might come out next election cycle. Hold on, that's not a... Okay, this should be... Okay, Windows 6. And Windows 6 should be, we don't have anything for Windows 6. Windows 4. Okay. Let's present so this is a tweet from Mouse Computer. It's a brand that got famous in Japan in 2017 thanks to them featuring the idol group Nogizaka 46. And speaking of Nogizaka 46, there was a novel that one of its former members has written. It's called Trapezium, and there was an anime movie adaptation of that novel. So I'm going to see it tomorrow, like for the second time. The first time I saw it in Japan while I was visiting, so I kind of lucked out. So without further ado, let's talk about Mouse Computer's tweet regarding the PS5 Pro. Gaming PCs are trending right now. Here's our lineup of gaming PCs that cost 120,000 yen. And and for this example, they have shown the Next Gear PCs, which has Windows 11 Home 64-bit, a AMD Ryzen 4500 processor, NVIDIA GTX 3050, 16 gigs of dual-channel memory, 1 terabyte NVMe, and they also give you 3 years of support that can be accessed 24/7, 365. And you can either pay the whole thing up front or get a 36-month loan without interest or something. That's number one. Number two, Applied Group also sold their own version of the 120,000 yen PC. But this time, they're using a Core i5-12400F, which is a processor I recommend to stay away from. 16 gigs of single-channel memory, also something I could stay away from. And, yeah, the 1 terabyte M.2, 4068 gigs. But I recommend the 3060 12 gigs, as it's a little bit cheaper or more expensive depending on which brand you buy. and it has more VRAM too. So it also comes with Windows 11 Home, and this is a web exclusive. And this is my favorite roast from Tsukumo, which is really well known because a few years ago, like before the pandemic, Techiya City has actually visited Akihabara and featured that shop in their on their channel. So, and he says this is 120,000 yen. So this one has an AMD Ryzen 5500, so a slightly stronger processor. You could also change it to a 5600X or 5700X. The latter, which I'm currently using on my main PC, using to stream this. And it comes with Radeon RX 6600 Ti with 8 gigs of VRAM, which I'm not really a fan of AMD GPUs, so your mileage may vary. 16 gigs, dual channel of 3200, 500 gig SSD, and this is an A520, which is a motherboard I'd stay away from because of issues regarding overclocking and stuff. And for Windows 10 or 11, you should choose Windows 11 Home at this time because we are actually about a year away from the end of support for Windows 10. So you have no choice but to choose Windows 11. Okay, let's see. I might touch the controller a few times because I don't want to get my controller disconnected and I have to reconnect it. And this is from Dospara. And they also sold 120,000 yen. And they say, LOL, there's no reason to buy a PlayStation. There are like infinitely many reasons to sell a PS5. It's because it has no fucking games. Yes. Yeah, but it's a bit tough, but it's the Ryzen 3600, 3050, storage should be 2 terabytes. Yeah, I agree with that, but this is a Japanese market. I should also note that, for 200 more US dollars than those cases, those PCs that I featured on the Japanese market, you can get a much better thing, as well as doing some gray market stuff, which I won't cover here. It says Windows sells even though Microsoft doesn't do anything. So that means, yeah, because OEMs usually roll in the price of Windows into their PCs. And also, if you, I wouldn't talk about it now, so LOL. Expected prices are driving thanks to Sony being completely duped. PS5 Pro, it was 8,000 yen. It could be taken over by a mini PC. So if it's 120,000 yen, you could get something decent. I think these shops would have thought the 8,000 yen would be a bit much, but 120,000 yen would be a bit much. Can I buy for 120,000 yen? I'm ignorant about buying this PC, but I'm just as ignorant about buying the Pro. And so are Western game journalists for, like, I don't know, like, pandering to Sony with the PS5 Pro. Sorry, I'm a little thirsty today. They say 120,000 yen desktops are trash, but amongst gaming PCs, it is a potato. But the PS5 Pro is even worse because it only does games that has the same performance as a 120,000 yen PC. Yeah, like, with a gaming PC, I could use a capture card and play Mario Kart, and, I could play Mario Kart and stream it. I could do my schoolwork, I could do programming, I could do video editing, or audio editing, or image manipulation, or emulation. Don't tell Nintendo. And I could also watch movies, listen to music, and all that stuff. And there's also PCs you should think about future expansion and current performance, but you can always upgrade it later. Jim Ryan's incompetent assholes have not taken measures against scalpers, so many people can't buy a PS5, and since then there's a huge increase in BTO computer shops in Japan, even though there are not many PS5 users in Japan. So what this basically says is that PC gaming is actually taking off in Japan, and as I mentioned last week, Tekura of HoloLive has actually done a collab with Lenovo, which is a further blow to Sony, or as someone on X calls it, Sony, as in the woke agenda. And say Tsukumo but DOS Power is chosen for a bang for the buck, but they don't know about Pi because they don't have an Akihabara. Yeah, there's also another Akihabara-esque neighborhood in Nagoya. I've been there, but Nagoya's subway system compared to other Japanese subway systems of that size is kind of trash. It's still better than New York though. Decent CPU and RTX and potato PC added up will be 300,000 yen. Like, there's a lot of misconceptions still, but they offer average support on the lower end of the BTO lineup, so it's a little higher than PS5 Pro. I should also mention that Alan Wake 2 could run on those PCs at around 900 to 1080p, which is actually better than the PS5 Pro. But the PS5, but people on the gaming media says, oh, but the PS5 Pro has PSSR and stuff. The upscaling technology called PSSR, which is AI-based upscaling. I call this BS because the base game still runs at less than 1080p. So PS5 Pro is, I don't know. If you have a 4060, it's not bad. I think a 4060 is awful GPU because it has less VRAM, it has less memory bus, and the PS user base is growing. Wow, it's not a great game piece, but it looks better than PS5 Pro. Because PS5 Pro can only play games. There's also censorship. Hold on. And you could build a PC that's slower than a normal PS5. That's not. Oh, hold on, that's. I gotta scroll up. So it's best to sell this garbage to. I don't know. You can't find out what it's needs to get the performance of PS5 or Pro and what the current market price is. Don't even try to find out. They'll gain knowledge and give up even if you tell. If you're only playing games, you should buy a proper PC and then add Pro parts to play an inferior version. You could do it cheaper. It's not okay to charge up to 120,000 yen. So that's it for the comments section. I'm actually going to. I'll show you my next build after I continue with after I finish the second race. So I'm just going to hit the translate button on one of the sites. I'll show you my PS5 Pro killer. It's just $200 more than a a PS5 Pro, but it can deliver performance good enough to play Alan Wake 2. Which I found was the most jarring in terms of resolution on a PS5 Pro, because that it's not even fucking 1080p, and like, and even consoles like Final Fantasy 16 on the PS5 could only run at like 30 frames at 720p, which is like a PS3-esque resolution, except you have none of the media features of the PlayStation 3 and all of the censorship that's and woke shit that Sony imposed on you. Oh, got hit by both the prop plant and Mario got hit by the explosion. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16, in my opinion, is actually the worst Final Fantasy game, based on my impressions, because it's basically Groom Simulator 2023. Oh, remember that incident last year where the Canadian Parliament literally... Never mind. You know, I have a friend in Britain, and he says that they are jailing people over political insults, which meant that I had to waste about £3 just to make an inquiry to the British government regarding if I could enter the UK without a visa because of that stream I did last summer regarding Keir Starmer's authoritarianism. But it's likely that I had to get a visa, or I even get kicked out or jailed in Britain because I said some mean stuff about Keir Starmer being a tyrant or something. Which is also precisely the reason why I hid my last stream. Because I said in the last stream that I might have to go back to Vietnam next year. So let's go through my part list for a PS5 Pro killer. This is for the American market, so I recommend a 5600X, a B550 gaming board, dual channel 32 gigs of memory, a 992 terabyte drive, SSD, a 3060 12 gigs. I just got a random case and a 750 watt power supply, so the base total will be subtotal will be about $887. So according to PC part pickers calculations, it may cost $871, which should be able to play Alan Wake 2 without having to rely on sub 900p resolutions like pathetic Sony's PS5 Pro does. So this is for my American market. If you're in another country, then your mileage may vary. Or should I say your kilometer range may vary. Never mind. That was such a bad joke. So, I'm going to move on to the third race, and I also heard that some PS5 Pro enhanced games will still run at 30 frames per second. Like, I don't know what the hell is wrong with Sony and modern consoles. I mean, even Nintendo is somewhat guilty for using underpowered hardware, but at least some developers know how to take full advantage of the hardware. Even Nintendo's first parties, like, one game that took advantage of the hardware really well was Mario Odyssey, and that was a launch year title. And everyone loved that, game. But, I think Digital Foundry is a bunch of elitist assholes or something. Especially because of, because of how they paywall their tech analysis videos or something, or reports or something. But that was a good one. And gotta read the golden, like, 5 channel thing. I shouldn't be saying it, but yeah, there are 5 channel. That's a site I used to get a lot of reactions from the Japanese internet, because they are really unsatisfied with PlayStation 5. Now it costs 1.2 million. I mean PS5 Pro. The 1.2 million Korean won in South Korea, and about 1,100 Singaporean dollars. Or should I call them Mariah bucks? Because of the fact that the Mariah is the national symbol of Singapore. I'm sorry if I offended any of you, but that's the thing that came up to my mind. Because the Mariah, it's so beautiful, especially if you put it on the backdrop against the Marina Bay Sands. It just shows how well Singapore is doing compared to the absolute shithole that is Philadelphia. Alright, let's go to effects only, and we're going to reopen this. So it says there was a report earlier this year that the PS5 Pro Enhanced games will not be 60 frames. And while Sony wasn't too clear on this yesterday, there will still be 30 frames per second PS5 Pro Enhanced games. So, since the performance is also being allocated to the resolution that is lacking in normal mode, you can't say that you can get 60 frames per second without thinking. With PS4 Pro and PS5 compatibility, SIE has started recommending variable settings so it's become less common, but depending on the game, it's meant to be fixed at 30 in the first place. Like, are we in 2006 or something? But even 2006 was better because, you know, at the time people had more disposable incomes. We had Haruhi Suzumiya. Irreproducible spec, so load varies depending on the software. I understand you, despite being branded as a Nintendo fanboy by haters. Base price boost and what's happening on Twitter and the PlayStation community on X. The PS5 Pro has quote-unquote 250% more performance than the original. Mostly Sony fanboys. Well, yeah, because but the official statement says 45%, so anyone who believes in this, knowledge of the reality will be crushing defeat for the PlayStation, so nothing we can do about it. If you're playing full HD, you can get 120 frames per second. Now, I'm streaming at 1080p right now, and you notice that today I'm not streaming in HDR because I'm streaming from a non-HDR enabled console. So, you'll get 120 frames per second. Don't get hung up on 4K. Well, unfortunately, 4K is like, what is it? Because Sony just wants to have as many 4K gamers as possible, despite their consoles not even doing 1080p on Alan Wake 2. So the CPU remains garbage. Yeah, it's using the same base CPU, but they keep but they keep touting upgraded GPU when it's just one fucking chip or something. Like, just add more cores for graphics processing or compute units. That term was like really poorly translated to Japanese by Sony and the Western gaming press. But yeah, there's like the on par with the 4070. And yeah, it's for the 4060 Ti or 3060. Can't play Monster Hunter Wilds at 60. So yeah, and there's no point in buying it. So I watched a video of the demo, but the resolution settings, the storm was caused by the same CPU. Like, it's a SoC, okay? It's system on a chip, but Sony's like, suck out whatever it is. And the HDMI 2.1 bandwidth is capped at 32, so when we set it to 4K 120, it becomes YV422 due to bandwidth limitation. Will be RGB on the Pro Xbox. Capcom is trying to release something that doesn't even work properly for consoles. Are you stupid to say that even the Pro version is risky? Capcom is crazy. There aren't many games that requires this much CPU to produce 60 frames. That's a 45% increase over 30 frames, but even PC games that recommend 4070 do not guarantee 60 frames per second. Never explain what the purpose of the Pro was, except to pay for Concord tax, because that game was such a woke shit disaster that Sony closed the servers like 2 weeks after its launch. And frame rate corrections, but rather it's more like free software for smartphones or PC. I don't know what that. More the resolution, but I want 60 frames. That's the point of the Pro. For PS5 coming out, I thought that 1080p 60 frames would be the norm. When the PS5 came out, anything other than 4K 120 frames would damage the eyes. And then, yeah. And there's some vulgar language. The Pro is variable at 60 frames. 120,000 yen, $700 US, 1 grand Canadian, 1,100 Singaporean, and 1.2 million in South Korea. It doesn't deserve to be called Pro, and the gaming press is. I mean, let me be blunt. I fucking hate the gaming press. So yeah. So I would want to see a teardown video of the Pro. The logic board itself is probably the same, not a normal board for additional modifications. So there were just a lot of, and they could withstand. There were test boards that can withstand overclocking or overvoltage, including existing product stock, and replace the SoCs of those that are saved, and then they will rewrite the firmware for operation and put on a Pro cover, and the one that did not pass was sold as refurbished. The purpose of the Pro is to use up the huge stock of normal PS5 and unassembled logic boards. It's saying there's some refurbished product cheap because the Pro is already boxed up during the production process. I only have to open it once. So Intel's core processor has the same thing. Yeah, they do this, and the 4090. Someone said that 4090 because I don't know. At first, if I put something like smart shift in a stationary car, it's a system for mobile phones. You're having trouble with localized heat generation. And we have the root cause of all of this is unreasonably high clock speeds for overheating. You force clock speed up when the design is not capable of withstanding such high clock speeds. The power consumption increases more than the performance gain, which a lot of heat and the power restrictions are more tight, and you have to do stuff like smart shit even if the device is not battery powered. We're also scaling for PC. You can generate any frame, but Mark Cerny boasts that the graphics processing power has increased up to 45 compared to the PS5. He has finally achieved the long-awaited 10 teraflops. You know the bit wars, like back in the 90s, like 8 bits, 16 bits, 32 bits, 64 bits. I think the nerd did a ton of stuff on the bit wars. Now we're on the teraflop wars and the war against woke shit. Now, so I think that's it for today's coverage of the PS5 Pro. So now we're just gonna summarize what we learned in today's stream. We're on the final race. So today we learned that Alan Wake 2 doesn't even run at 1080p after Digital Foundry paywalled a test analysis for the PS5 Pro, which is really sad because I really hate Digital Foundry. I really do. Like, they refuse to do like a Hogwarts Legacy like stream because of all the drama of J.K. Rowling and their so-called social justice activists, or as I like to call them, woke shit motherfuckers. They even set up a whole site and targeted a lot of streamers that played Hogwarts Legacy, and one of them even had to graduate because of Hogwarts Legacy, because of all the hate she received during her Hogwarts Legacy stream. It's like those woke shit motherfuckers are like Stasi, or East German secret police. Which is fitting because they intimidate people on their journey. Like, if you were driving from like Helmstedt in West Germany to West Berlin, you would actually you could actually get intimidated by East German police at any point in the journey. Thankfully, that's gone. The East German police. Thankfully, they're gone because of the reunification in 1990. But even then, yeah. So, Alan Wake 2 does not run at 1080p on the PS5 Pro. I also covered a build that can be built for $200 more and still beat the PS5 Pro. Like, it really pays to save. And we also talked about, more reactions about the PS5 Pro. and how some games, even with the enhancements, will not run at 1080p. I mean, not run at 60 frames. So I think that's it for today's stream, because it's getting late and I have to go see Trapezium tomorrow.